Hello. Very excited you could join us tonight. Welcome. I think I recognize some names in this group too, Linda. Yay. Welcome, whether this is the first time you've joined us or you're joining us from some other sessions too. We are thrilled to have you as part of our group tonight. Welcome. We're going to get started in just a moment. Actually, I'm going to take very little time because we've only got an hour and we want to show you so much tonight. So we are going to drop an attendance link into chat. You're going to want to click, Linda just did it. She's super fast. You're going to want to click that link because it will let us know that not only were you here, but we'll be able to send you a certificate from that link as well. So you'll get a nice little certificate for attending. We don't collect any other information besides just a name for the certificate. So go ahead and click that when you get a chance. CodeHS.com/NCyTE, NCyTE-attend. All right. And we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm thinking we're going to have a few other people joining us, but we'll get them caught up as we go. I apologize, I'm a little bit froggy tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and kick things off. So welcome again to the CodeHS NCyTE AP Computer Science Principles Cybersecurity Workshop. That was a huge mouthful. We are so excited about this course. So we are super happy to be here with you tonight. My name's Lori, and I'm a PD specialist here at CodeHS. I've been with CodeHS for about almost 2 years now. And prior to this, I was in the classroom for about 20 years as a tech coordinator and a high school computer science teacher, where one of the courses that I taught was AP Computer Science Principles. I did not get to teach one with a little extra cyber, but I was so excited to see this course because that was one of my students' favorite parts, was the cybersecurity. So thrilled to be here with you to take a look at this tonight. I'm going to toss it over to Linda and let her intro herself.
Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Linda and I am also a PD specialist here with CodeHS. I'm excited to be here because I also taught AP Computer Science Principles. I taught computer science for about 15 years, but the last 4 years or so, I taught CS Principles with both JavaScript and with Python, the CodeHS curriculum. So I added components of the cybersecurity curriculum as well. So I'm excited to be here and just give you guys some more information how you can take this back to your classrooms.
All right, thanks, Linda. Okay, so we've had a few more people join us, so we'll go ahead and toss that attendance link back into chat. If you're just joining us, go ahead and click on the attendance link. That's not going to collect anything other than it's going to take your name and let us send you a certificate of attendance. So make sure you click that. All right, so let's get started. What I would love for you all also to take a second to do is to introduce yourself to us. Go ahead and take a moment and in chat, go ahead and tell us a little about yourself. You can tell us your name, where do you teach at, what classes do you teach, and if there's anything else you'd like to share, please go ahead and do that too. That would be great. And hello, Arlen. APCSP teacher, thanks for joining us tonight. I do recognize some of these names. I know some of you have come to some other CodeHS workshops in the past. All right, I'm gonna let you all type. I know it takes a little while to type in intros. I'll just keep one eye over there. And I'm gonna keep plugging along on our slides just because we have so much to cover. Lisa. Hi, Lisa. AP CSP, AP CSA, Foundations of CS, and Cybersecurity, teaching in Baltimore. Hi, I'm so glad you could join us tonight, Lisa. All right. So you can go ahead and keep tossing those introductions into chat. I'm going to just take a quick look at our workshop agenda for the evening. So we're going through our welcome and introductions right now. We're going to do just a little bit more with that. I'm going to give a brief overview of what CodeHS is in case you haven't experienced us yet. And then Linda's going to talk a little bit about NCyTE, and she's going to dive into an overview of the APCSP with cybersecurity courses. And so you can get kind of a look at what those look like. Then in the last part of our hour tonight, I'm going to take a look at an exemplar lesson from those concept lessons, and we'll look at the Visioneer cipher lesson and take a look at what's involved in that. If you've done some workshops with us before, you'll see I'm going to do it a little bit differently. We're just going to walk through that lesson and see what the components are and how we can maybe add to that and make it our own, what we can do with it. All right. And then we'll have a little bit of just a quick wrap up. Okay, so if this is your very first time joining us as for any CodeHS event and you don't have an educator account yet, you can browse out to codehs.com/sign up to create an educator account. It just takes a couple of minutes. It's very fast, but you can do that really quickly. I'll let it hang here for just a second. Linda did toss that link into chat. So if you do need it, you can go ahead and click on it there. Just make sure to choose educator account. We will take you through a little bit of a verification process, but you'll be able to use that account right away tonight. Now, if you do have an account, go ahead and sign into codehs.com with your educator account. And you'll want to browse to this link that you see on the screen. And Linda will toss that into chat for us as well. You'll want to browse to codehs.com/go/411D0. You can click on that in chat, and that's going to enroll you in the demo section. All right, I'm going to let you do that. I'm going to grab just a quick drink. All right. That helped. Okay, so got a couple other, welcome. Rockland High School, welcome, welcome. And Waverly Academy, welcome. CS Discoveries. Awesome, okay. All right, so I'm gonna take a quick peek up here. Let's see, wrong tab. We'll see who we've got joining. We're getting them. Perfect. All right. I'm going to let you go ahead and keep on joining that section. Shouldn't take too long. Drop a note into chat if you have any trouble joining the section and I can help you out. All right. So I'm going to do just a quick overview of what CodeHS is, just in case we have anybody new joining us. And I love this story too. So if you haven't used CodeHS before, what you'll find is that we are a comprehensive platform for teaching computer science in middle and high schools. We really have all the 6 through 12 computer science curriculum that you could really ask for almost. We've got more and more every year, I think. We have online and offline professional development, which you're all taking part in tonight. And we have full software platform with teacher tools and resources. So it's really a great platform, whether or not you're a free or a pro teacher. I will say I was a free teacher the entire time I used CodeHS in my own classroom from 2014 to 2019. Linda, you were a pro teacher, right? Yep. So Linda had all the pro tools. You can absolutely still teach CodeHS, whether you are pro or a free teacher. You just get a lot of bells and whistles on that pro plan. And it's pretty amazing to have all of those extra things and tools and everything else. So our story, if you haven't heard this story before, it's pretty cool. So our founders, Jeremy Keeshan and Zach Gallant, met at Stanford their freshman year. And there they are in their youth. Look at that. And they both helped teach the intro computer science classes and built some of the course tools that were used in that course as well. Now, the interesting thing about that is that what they realized when they came to Stanford is that there's a real deficit. They realized how many of their fellow classmates never had the opportunity to take a computer science class or to take a programming class in high school because they simply just didn't have that as an opportunity. It wasn't available. So they saw a problem that needed to be fixed. So in their senior year at Stanford in 2012, they started CodeHS. And they wanted to have it be a platform that anyone, any teacher could access, any student could use to learn programming and computer science. So right after they formed CodeHS, they visited hundreds of classrooms all around the US in 2 road trips in that pink van that you see on the slide. And so that's how they got their start. Love that story. Our mission is read, write, code, empower all students to meaningfully impact the future. I love that mission, and I really love the phrase read, write, code, because it really shows how critical we believe, we know coding is to our kids' future. It's just as important as any of the other core subjects that they're learning. Programming is going to allow students to have that impact on their future. And I just had to include this one quote because this is an AP course. So this is one of our teacher trainers and computer science educator, Sean Razor. And this is one of my favorite quotes. I had 101 students take the AP exam. 95 passed with a 3 or better. It is great to be able to know that we are providing them with such solid content throughout the year, thanks to CodeHS. I love those stats. 101 students taking the exam with 95 passing with that kind of a score. That's amazing. So let's go ahead and jump into what we're doing tonight. Linda, I'm going to pass this over to you. I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
All right. Let me just make sure that I have all of my screens up here. I want to give you a quick overview of NCyTE. So CodeHS has partnered with the National Cybersecurity Training and Education Center. And so we've partnered really to develop the cybersecurity version of AP Computer Science Principles. So if you've been teaching AP CSP, perhaps it is a language agnostic course. So really it could be taught in any language from Java to JavaScript or Python. But our courses at CodeHS generally have either the JavaScript curriculum or the Python curriculum. And so this would be in addition to those coding exercises. We partnered with NCyTE really to bring those 2 courses together and to create this College Board endorsed course. And again, it combines the JavaScript course with the cybersecurity lessons developed by NCyTE. So the main focus, of course, is to increase that cybersecurity emphasis, which is already a part of the AP Computer Science Principles curriculum. So a little bit about NCyTE. They are funded by the National Resources Center. So this is National Science Foundation, funded by the National Resources Center. And their mission is really to address this deficit that we're seeing in the cybersecurity field. So we're trying to help to funnel more qualified cybersecurity professionals into the field. And it's exciting to see the students kind of light up. And so they have 4 goals, and this is the goals that they've determined they want to grow their program and really incorporate more cybersecurity. So they want to strengthen cybersecurity education. They want to expand and improve, pathways and opportunities for cybersecurity students, and also serve as a resource for faculty. So teachers like you, and improve, participation and partnerships with other curriculum providers to be able to, connect people with the industry. In fact, in just a moment, I'm going to give you some information about their website, and then you can find some additional resources for your classroom. But this started in fall of 2015. And so that NSF grant was awarded to Whatcom Community College. And so what they did is they developed 7 cybersecurity modules to integrate into the computer science curriculum for the community college, and then 13 cybersecurity concept lessons to integrate into the AP Computer Science Principles course. So really they may seem one and the same. They're really kind of targeting to different levels of understanding, but they established this partnership with CodeHS to develop this fully online, College Board approved APCS principles course. And the course really, all of those lessons meld together with the curriculum that's already there. So the modules and lessons are approved and the course is completely available for you, as well as the cybersecurity concept lessons. And I'll talk about what the difference is there, but they are also available in Python. So we'll talk through that a little bit. But NCyTE has some resources for you. So as an educator, they have a great YouTube channel. You can go on there and watch videos from industry professionals and different interviews they've done. They have interactive components on their site. They have virtual college fairs and competitions your students can be a part of, as well as some professional development workshops, tools for teachers like you, and support for some industry connections. So if you want to, find an industry professional that can speak to your class or maybe even come on campus, that would be a great resource for you as a teacher. And to join NCyTE, it's free. So I'm just going to throw this into the chat. There is, you can go to NCyTE.net and find this information. What I love about them is, again, they have this kind of desire to connect people with one another. And so there are members from colleges, universities, high school educators, and so on. So NCyTE.net is the best place to go if you'd like more information. But we're going to go ahead and dive into the APCSP course with cybersecurity that we offer here at CodeHS. So we're going to go through, kind of who it's for, definitely designed for high school students. What's great about the APCSP with cybersecurity course is it is really designed, just like the AP Computer Science Principles course, to be for an introductory or a, it's really an overview, a survey of computer science. So students that have never had a computer science course can definitely benefit from this course. So as far as the course itself, it is fully aligned to the College Board standards and their 5 big ideas. It's endorsed by the College Board and built off of that the APCSP with JavaScript course. So our cybersecurity lessons from NCyTE, though, are woven throughout the curriculum. So there's nothing you really need to do or add to your course unless you choose to maybe pick a different language. So some activities have been replaced with more cybersecurity oriented activities. So we're going to get into the specifics here in just a moment, but some additional cyber-oriented lessons will be added to the modules. And then there are some additional modules added. So it's a net add-on of about 15 to 20 hours of content, but still gives you enough time to be able to review for the end of course exam, as well as complete the create task. So the format is mainly web-based. Again, there's going to be some supplemental materials that will be offline, but each module contains, and you'll see in just a moment, the format really starts with a short video. There will be also slides associated with the video. There are examples specifically for coding exercises, and then there are a variety of tasks. So it could be that it's a coding exercise, or you may have a widget that you're working with to kind of mimic a certain cybersecurity attack. So there's a lot of really great activities that help students get a breadth of understanding of cybersecurity. The course was designed to be taught roughly over a full school year, and it does prepare the students for that AP CSP multiple choice exam, as well as prepare them for the create task. So this is an AP level course, but it is technically an introductory computer science concepts course. So what that means is that it's aimed for high school students, and they don't necessarily have to have prior knowledge about computer science or even programming to take the course. It's important to mention, though, that it's a concepts class. So if they're just looking for a purely programming course, they might be, a little bit disappointed. It's going to be a lot of CS woven in with the cybersecurity, as well as this version is perfect for students that have an interest in cybersecurity or plan to continue into computer science. So while this might not be the equivalent of like a year-long cybersecurity course, it really does lay the foundation for them. At the same time, the course still covers, the same standard concepts that a computer science principles course would. So it can be used for all students. So this course, you'll find that it has some of our traditional content. We start with our Carol module that teaches basic JavaScript coding skills. And then we will expand the emphasis on things like cryptology and in both concepts and lessons and some coding practice lessons that are specific to that, as well as some, students will kind of spend some time looking at cyber attacks and the impact that they have. So you're going to notice that, like I said, the format starts with a video, generally a check for understanding quiz, an example or two, some coding exercises. But you're going to notice here in red that you'll also see some video activities. There might be some additional slides from NCyTE. This is specific NCyTE content, as well as some additional quiz questions and exercises. So if we take a look at this lesson, students are, getting more practice with loops, but they're also examining passwords at the same time. So you can see those same concepts are being taught, but the lesson wraps up with one of about a dozen what's called ethics moments. And Lori's going to go through this with you a little bit later. So we're going to look at them. They're kind of like short case studies that provide students an opportunity to reflect and dig deeper a little bit on those cybersecurity topics. So encryption is the first of two new modules. So you're going to notice that these topics are part of the CSP curriculum already, but they're just covered in greater depth in this version of the CSP course. And then the second new module is talking about or understanding and mitigating cybersecurity for individuals and networks. So you'll get a little bit of networking in there as well. Again, it's just digging deeper than your typical CSP course. But the AP Computer Science Principles with Cybersecurity course is broken into 10 modules. So like our other courses, we start with an intro to programming with Carol, and then we extend that into the JavaScript units. So we continue to look deeper into control structures and those advanced concepts like functions, input, return values, and so on. So the last major programming unit ends in the data structures unit. So from there, you're going to get into more of the computer science concepts units, including things like encryption. And there's an online scavenger hunt that actually Lori's going to show you tonight, as well as, students will get to actually practice using these different ciphers. In the main CSP course, we explain it and we do maybe a few examples, but this is really where students are going to have to decode clues and, they're going to have to go to different places on the site to actually complete the exercise. So it becomes almost like this game to really try to master those skills, which is really cool. So we're going to finish out our cybersecurity and data units. And in the cybersecurity unit, students have the opportunity to research different topics and create kind of like a one-pager that they would present within the code editor as a way to, educate the class on a topic that they have focused on. There's also in-course practice performance tasks. So I know this is really important for test takers to be able to prep before they submit their final create performance task for the AP exam. So you see many of the same practice performance tasks as you've maybe seen in other CodeHS courses. But we add some additional cybersecurity focused performance tasks like steganography with the color channels and the cyber ethics projects. So those are unique to the cyber course. There's a couple of different options as to how you can implement this curriculum. The most traditional way, of course, or most widely known is just to utilize the full cybersecurity CSP course that we have in our catalog. So the course we've been talking about today is the full length course. So this one is the one that is includes JavaScript, and it's the fully aligned and endorsed version. So you can see the full length JavaScript course overview in that link that Lori dropped in the chat. And if you have any questions about that, let us know, but that is the full course. Now, we do also alternatively, we have a way that you can access just the cybersecurity lessons that NCyTE develops. So these lessons don't cover the full APCSP curriculum, but they can be used in conjunction with other APCSP curriculum. So if you are either working with another service provider at the current moment, we won't name them, but if you have another CSP service provider that you're working with and you're like, I really like these concept lessons, I want to just use those, that is totally available to you. So the link that Lori just shared in the chat, that is certainly an option. But if you are maybe at this point 75% through your APCSP course with CodeHS, and you're like, well, I'd love to add this now, but it's already almost March. What do I do? You can also add this as a supplement. So you can add these cybersecurity concept lessons, especially because I don't know about you, but when I start talking about cybersecurity in my CSP course, my students were like, really excited. They just wanted to dig deeper. They wanted to talk more about it. So it certainly is a way to give them more of that deep dive that they're looking for. So finally, the third option is the same thing as the last slide. It's just in Python. So last slide was in JavaScript. This would be the Python. So for those of you that teach Python, and you want to use the NCyTE concept lessons, there's also, you have the ability to do that. We're just going to, you can either add it to and supplement it to the current APCSP with Python course, or again, you can add it as an additional supplement to a separate course. It's up to you. All of these three options are currently going to be available in the catalog. So if you just search for NCyTE, NCyTE, you're going to be able to find those three options: the full course, the concepts in JavaScript, and the concepts in Python. So you should be able to see that codehs.com/course/catalog. And then finally, just if you want to take a look, I know we've thrown this link already out there, but if you want to take a look at the syllabus that you, for each of these courses, you can actually, the full APCSP with Python course with the cybersecurity version, APCSP with JavaScript cybersecurity version, that syllabus is actually already approved by the College Board. So if you go to create or finish your AP audit, you can easily choose that version of the syllabus and submit it for approval from the College Board. And again, if you add the concept lessons, you'll just need to choose the course, syllabus that you're currently using for that course. Are there any questions for us at the moment? I'm going to hand it over to Lori, but I just want to make sure if there's any questions about anything we've covered so far, concept lessons, NCyTE, anything that we can answer.
No lessons or no questions in chat so far. No lessons in chat either. All right. Well, if you have any questions, certainly toss those into chat. We will make sure to get those answered. And if we can't answer them, we'll make sure to get you an answer after the session as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, you can see my slides. Yay. All right, I'm going to pull up my windows one more time so I can see chat. You can go ahead and toss any questions you have in there. And Linda, if I missed something, just give me a yell. Okay, so we are going to be taking a look at the Visionaire cipher tonight. And if you've been to another workshop, another CodeHS workshop, you've probably been a part of the sample lesson where you get to be my students. I get to be your teacher. I get to feel like I'm back in the classroom for just a second and teaching again. This is going to be just a little bit different, just because we are have a little bit less time with the hour-long workshop. We thought what we do is just walk through this lesson and talk through the different components of it. And especially considering this is one of the concept lessons, we want to show you how it's structured a little differently, what one of the activities looks like, and maybe talk about some things you can do or you can bring to it, or some other activities you can include there. So let's go ahead and jump into the sample lesson. So I'll head out to the workshop demo section in just a second. We'll just go through a couple of these slides first. So Visionaire cipher is what we're going to be looking at, and it is found in the encryption unit. So the encryption unit comes quite a ways down in the progression for the course. And I'll show you where that's at in just a second. You can see that it's surrounded by a Caesar cipher. So you'd start that unit with the more simple Caesar cipher, substitution ciphers, and then we'd move into a decrypting and breaking Caesar ciphers. Then Visionaire cipher comes into it, and symmetric and public key encryption is the last lesson in that unit. So most of you, I think all of us are actually CodeHS teachers already, but just to remind you of how that structure looks again, typically the way most lessons start is we'll have that content right away at the beginning of the lesson. So in the case of the Visionaire cipher lesson, we will have that content here. Now notice it still has that video display. It's going to be a little bit different since it's a concept lesson. So I'll take you out there to show you what that looks like. And then we have all of the lesson activities. You can see there's quite a few here. We have a couple of connections. So those cybersecurity teachers out there, you may have seen those before. We have a lot of connections in those cyber courses, as well as in some other courses as well. There's some free response activities. These are actually really interesting. We're going to go through that scavenger hunt a little bit this evening. And we still have a coding activity here as well, and one of those ethics moments that Linda was talking about. So at this point, I would typically start the lesson, but I'm actually going to jump back out to the platform, and we're going to just take a quick look at what this looks like. Now, it looks like you've all gotten enrolled in the section. If you haven't gotten enrolled now, that's okay. You can still do this afterwards if you like. I know it's not always easy if you might be on a phone or you've got other things going on around you. So you can certainly enroll in this after the workshop tonight as well. But if you're enrolled, this is currently the student view. So once you've gone into the NCyTE AP CSP with cybersecurity section, this is what you're going to see from the student view. It's going to open up into workshop resources. This is just something that we've added to make sure you get all of the resources that you're looking for from this workshop. You'll see the agenda here, the slides here. We've even put the end of workshop survey here as well. And I've added the lessons that we're going to look over here, or well, I've added the whole unit here actually. But you've got all of this in the workshop resources. And just a side note, if you haven't tried this before, this is something you all can do too as CodeHS educators. You all have the ability to add your own modules or units, lessons, and activities too. So I did this the same way any teacher would do this. Then the rest of this course is the AP CSP in JavaScript with cybersecurity. So this is the JavaScript version of the CSP course. And you can actually see all of those extra concept lessons included in here too. In fact, this is where the encryption unit lives. It's all the way down here, unit 10. You notice I even started playing around with it a little bit here. So I'm at 12%, look at me go. But I can see all of those lessons here. The cybersecurity unit is here as well. But you can actually start playing around with this by just enrolling in this demo section. And you can always create your own section of it as well. as a teacher. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top. I thought what might be helpful tonight is rather than digging all the way down through all of that stuff for that Visionaire lesson, we're going to go ahead and open up workshop resources. And we're going to come in here to the Visionaire cipher. I'm going to click on that plus sign to expand it. And this is where we're going to be taking a look for everything. Okay. And I'm going to start by taking us out to the Visionaire cipher. Now, this is the student view. This is what you're seeing. I'm actually going to jump over to my view as the teacher. So you could, if you haven't really experienced this, you can see what the difference looks like. So this is now the teacher view. You'll see this looks really similar. I still see all the same units and everything that students see. But when I start expanding this, you'll notice I actually have access to my lesson plans here as well. I can expand this and I see a few other things like I can grade, I can preview, I can configure, I can do a few other things here. And I don't want to open classic or Caesar ciphers. I'm going to open Visionaire cipher. There we go. It looks like my order got a little bit mixed up too. I'll have to fix that, Linda. I didn't even notice that. My lesson order. That's all right. So we're going to go into the Visionaire cipher, and I'm going to go ahead and preview this this video. So if you'd like to click on that very first Visionaire cipher with me and take a look, otherwise you can just follow along on my screen, and that's fine too. So this is that very first lesson. So remember, this is typically, or the very first activity, this is typically where we would see a video and slides. With the concept lessons, what we're going to see here are slides. Okay, and these are the NCyTE slides. So this is our students' first encounter with what is this kind of cipher. And this is how you can actually go through and teach the course or teach this lesson if you would like to. So it starts with slides. Now, if you're like me, I like to start my class with an opener of some kind. Rather than have the students come in, we sit down and I say, all right, Visionaire cipher, let's do it. I like to start with an opener. So you can all, if you're following me in the site, in the platform, you can stay right there. I'm going to switch back to my slides for just a moment. And I'm just going to ask a quick question. Now, if anybody would like to answer this, you can. I'm not going to put this out there for real since we haven't actually gone over Caesar cipher, but I'm happy to have you answer in chat. So what are the weaknesses of a Caesar cipher? There you go. Lisa's got it. Yeah. So yeah, the weaknesses are that it is easy to break using frequency analysis for sure. So what my question is aiming to do is to really trigger that prior knowledge that students should have at this point. We had talked about what a Caesar cipher is. We started talking about how to decrypt a Caesar cipher, and they would have learned through that frequency analysis is something that's going to be used or to break a Caesar cipher. Frequency analysis would be used. And the reason that a Caesar cipher is so weak is because it is a very simple shift kind of cipher. It's a substitution cipher, but it's just a shift. And really, we're just shifting through the alphabet by a certain number, so number of letters. Super easy to break because you don't have that many letters in the alphabet, right? Very easy to break when you start looking at frequency analysis. So this would be a great place to start. Now, we haven't talked about Visionaire cipher, but discussing what are the pros and cons of strengthening it are a really good way to start thinking about what's going to be coming in this lesson. Because, of course, with Visionaire, we're going to be taking a significant step up into what is still one of the most complex, unbreakable ciphers ever. So at this point, I'm going to take us back out to the CodeHS platform. And this is the point when I would actually enter the lesson. We'd go through these slides. You're going to see some learning objectives here. You'll get some background on where did Visionaire come from? How did this get started? And a little bit about why do we need this secret communication? What was the problem with that Caesar cipher? And then, of course, some terminology, which is very Yeah, which is very important. I think in cybersecurity, more than almost anything else, that's where I'm really seeing all that terminology come in. You'll have a little review of the Caesar Cipher review here. So you can go over it again here to benefit students again. And then you have your very first introduction to the Vigenère cipher. Now, I love using slides for direct teaching strategies. I also really like to grab these slides and print them out. Maybe you have a student who just might need that in front of them. You can also share those. I mean, they've got them right there with the platform, so they can come back to this anytime. But this is going to be their first introduction to what exactly is the Vigenère cipher. And so this is where they're going to learn about having that message that needs to be encrypted and the keyword or that key that is going to be used to encrypt it. And we'll start learning about, well, why is that stronger? How does this make this an unbreakable cipher? We'll learn about Kirchhoff's principles here, Claude Shannon's maxim, and then we'll talk more about what are some of the pros and the cons of the Vigenère cipher. If it is unbreakable, how are there cons to it? How can there possibly be something bad with this? And so this is the first lesson, and students get their first taste of what a Vigenère cipher is. Now, if you're not a fan of slides, you can always choose a different approach. The very next lesson, and the way I'm going to go to the next lesson, in case you're not familiar, there is a continue button down in the bottom right corner, or I'm a big fan of clicking on the activity bubbles. I think you can see my mouse, a little tooltip pops up, and I can click on that next one. So as a teacher, I can just click on those. Students can click on those as well. So if I click on the next one, it's one-time pad cipher. So now we're talking about these one-time pad ciphers and the Vigenère cipher as a one-time pad cipher. And what you'll see here is that this is a connection resource. So rather than being a video that comes from a CodeHS curriculum developer or even somebody from NCyTE, this is actually a Khan Academy video that we're using and including here. Now, little side note, if you have not done this before, you've got your favorite videos out there that you use from another site, you can build those into the lesson as well. So, little side note. All right, so that is the very next video that we see here. If we had a little bit more time, we'd kind of play around with that a little bit, but I'm going to keep going because I want to get to the fun activities. So I'm going to click on how a Vigenère cipher works. So in this video, and it's about 4.5 minutes long, so we won't take the time to watch it, but this is where we can actually see a little bit more in action how that cipher works. And I feel like sometimes when you can actually see those things happening and see that encrypting and decrypting happening, it might make things a little bit more, a little bit easier to grasp sometime for students. So this is going to be a video that you're going to want to take a look at. Now, one of the other things that I did with this was rather than watch the video, I'm going to come back out to my slides. And I actually started putting these things in slides. Now, we're going to make sure you all have access to the slides. So if you feel like, hey, I want some of this stuff, you can steal my slides. It's totally fine. You can absolutely have these. But what I've done here is I've actually put in the Vigenère cipher table. And so this is how we would encrypt or decrypt our messages. So what happens is the message, this is for the person who needs to encrypt the message. So they're going to put their message across the top. They're going to put their key on the side. All right. Now the message, the encrypted message, can be sent in plain text because it's encrypted. The only thing that needs to be hidden is that key. The key must stay hidden. So if Linda and I are sending a message back and forth and we won't want any of you to know it, she has to know that key. And I can't put it in Zoom chat because then you would all know the key, right? So that's the only part that needs to be encrypted. So no messages right now, Linda. So we can encrypt a message And maybe our message is going to be this. And this is the same, the example that was used in the video. We have a meeting in 2 minutes. A little hard to read here, but that's what that says. So we've got a meeting in 2 minutes. We don't want anybody to know. So we've chosen our key. Our key in this case is going to be the word codex, CODEX. Now notice how this works. Okay, we have our message, and then we take our key and we simply repeat it. Okay, so every letter of the key matches up to a letter from that message. And our encrypted message is going to look like this. So how do we decrypt this? Here's our table again. Here's my encrypted message. Okay. Here's my key. So now what I can do is start with the first letter of the key, with the C. I'm going to follow it all the way over to the first letter of that encrypted message, which is a Y. And when I go up, I can see the first letter of my message, of my decrypted message, is going to be a W. Now remember what that message was. It was, we have a meeting in 2 minutes. Okay, so we keep doing that until we finish decrypting this entire message. And that's how we decrypt it. Lisa says, Khan Academy cryptography videos are great. I agree. I used them in my classroom too. Loved them. So there's our message. There's our key. And there's our decrypted message, of course. Now, what's important to keep in mind here is that there are so many possibilities there. If we go back and look at this chart and we think about the number of words that could be used here, it's going to, this is absolutely, it gets more and more clear as to why the Vigenère cipher is really going to be looked at as an unbreakable sort of cipher, because it would be, you know, almost impossible to be able, well, pretty impossible to break this, right? So now we give students a chance to experience this in the platform. And this is where we come to that online scavenger hunt. So the Vigenère scavenger hunt is that next exercise after the video. And in this, we are going to use an external website to actually decode some hints that Carol provides for us. So every time we decode a hint, we're going to enter that into the browser to get to the next hint. So we're going to start by opening up this website, which is the Black Chamber. I'll come back to that in a second. And then to start, we're going to look under here underneath Hacker Carol. One of my favorite Carols of all is Hacker Carol. So there he is. For each puzzle, we're going to use the key Cyber Sleuth. And I'm going to go ahead and copy the first encoded word. And now I'm going to go to the Black Chamber. Now I'm going to type in my keyword here, Cyber Sleuth. Now, one little gotcha with this site that we didn't realize at first, I think it was last summer, but you need to make sure that you're using uppercase letters here. So I typed in Cyber Sleuth. Now I can enter a plain text message that maybe I want to encrypt, but I've got the ciphertext. So I'm going to paste in that cipher. Then here, I'm going to click on Decipher Plain Text. And it deciphered it for me. Now I can use this website. If you want to make students go through and actually have a chart where they can decipher it themselves, you can definitely do that as well. But you do have this website available to you. So now that I have this first phrase decrypted, the way I get to the second one is by going to codehs.com/off and running. And it gives me the next code. And I decipher that. Now, as I go, as a student, I need to come in here and I need to enter my decrypted message here. And I do that until I've completed it. So really cool activity to give kids an idea of how that encryption and decryption process works. You could absolutely use the website, or you could simply have them use the table themselves and have them do it that way. I feel like this presents so many other possibilities. I keep thinking of breakout rooms and how cool it would be to include these kind of ciphers in breakout rooms. So many awesome possibilities. Now, some of the other things that you're going to see here. Oh, and by the way, I did open up all these so you can see all of them. And there are solutions out there for you, the teacher. So you have access to all the solution references. So you don't have to decode this stuff too. So now some of the other activities that are in this include the Visionaire pseudocode. So if we go to that activity, you're going to see all of the steps in the algorithm to actually write your own cipher or code it. So in this first step, what you're going to be doing is actually having students write the pseudocode for it. Okay, so students are going to write the pseudocode. Then comes the coding activity, where students, in this case, it'll be in JavaScript, students will be writing their own Visionaire cipher here. So you get back to some coding here. You have a reflection for the Visionaire cipher lesson. And then you have that ethics moment, cryptography and NASA, I think is this one. Yes. And it talks about, or an NSA leak, I'm sorry, talks about a leak that leaves crypto math intact, but highlights known workarounds and some of the ethical implications about that. And it really gives your students a chance to dig in and discuss some of the ethics that go along with cybersecurity. I love that connection between here's this Visionaire cipher, here's how it works, here's how we use it, here's some historical perspective, but here's our modern day tie-in and what this, what are some of the ethics around this as well. So really cool tie-in there. And I feel like there's so many things that we can bring in as cybersecurity teachers that are current modern day hacks. I mean, we're seeing it today. We're seeing hacks happen right now. And so we can just bring in all these things, but we have these built into the course already. All right. I know that was super fast. I would have loved to have had you go through that online scavenger hunt because that is a lot of fun. But definitely a ton of stuff in here. You could also have your students, use that as an exit ticket as well. So when we think about this lesson, there's a lot of different components that are built in and a lot of added things with these cybersecurity lessons. Now, if you are a pro teacher, you'll definitely have access to the lesson plans. Let's see, have I pulled up a lesson plan? Nope, but I can click it over here. So I'll go ahead and do that. And you can get an idea of what that looks like. So you can see the lesson plans here. Now, one thing with lesson plans, you do have all the links to all the solution references and problem guides. Now, solution references are free for all teachers. You absolutely have access to those, all right? So, but lesson plans are going to have some pacing guides and things like that. What I like to do is go there and find ideas for more activities. So that's what I like to use my lesson plans for. I find my pacing is always longer than what the lesson plans suggest because kids get so into these, and so do I, into the cybersecurity lessons. Now, some other things that you can do to these lessons is to actually add components in it. I know often when we're doing these workshops and working with teachers, we'll hear teachers say, it's hard for me to add in a class opener. It's hard for me to add in another video because I feel like kids are getting lost. I have to redirect them back into something. And we see that a lot with middle school students too. I taught, I had a lot of required courses for freshmen, and I felt like I was always kind of redirecting back. Let's go back here. But you can build all of these things into the course, whether you are a free or a pro teacher. You can add a class opener. Notice there's no quiz here. You could add a quiz if you want. You can add discussions. You can add projects if you want to add more here. And it can all be inside the platform and housed within that lesson. So you can really add in and rearrange anything that you want to do there. I also know that teachers come with all the tools that you like to use in your classrooms. Maybe you like to do some journaling activities. I know I was an English teacher in a former life, and I love to add free response questions in and add more journaling activities. And also Flipgrid, one of my favorite tools. You can actually embed that right in the platform itself. If you're a fan of polling apps, if you haven't checked out Slido, I would highly recommend it. It's a very, very nice, very easy to use polling app. Quizzes, you can create your own CodeHS quizzes and embed those. You can add Quizlets, you can add quizzes, you can, and each of the parts of the Quizlet, maybe you just want a flashcard, maybe you just want a worksheet, maybe you just want the match game. You can embed that directly in the platform. Kahoot is an easy one to embed. That's still one of my favorites. But you can add any of those things in that you loved in your own classes. Let me just jump back for a second, and I'm going to show you super fast. We're at 4 minutes left, so I really want to show you this. Okay, there we go. Let's say, I don't know if this is going to be super fast, Linda. Lori's internet is saying otherwise right now. All right. So if I wanted to come into this Visionaire Cipher and maybe I want to add a class closer, I can click on Add New Assignment. And I can choose exactly what I want to add. Maybe I want it to be a free response. Maybe I want to add another article. Maybe I want to add a video. Notice I can add all of these things myself. I am not doing anything special that you can't do. You all have access to this as well. So I want to just give you a quick look that you can do that too. All right. Does anybody have any questions? I've been talking for too long. And if you do have any questions about anything, maybe if you're one of our Python teachers, I know that would be the one I would be going for sure, is the Python, and building out my own APCSP with Python. I would absolutely do that too. So everything is available. What I would say, are you talking about the Python one, Lisa? Because with Python, I'm not sure if I'm hoping that eventually we'll make that a full course so we can just do it. But right now, what you would need to do is take that Python course, the APCSP with Python, and then add in the concept lessons. But we do provide the map for that as well. And if you need any help, just reach out. We're happy to help you out with that too, for sure. But we definitely do have the pieces for that. Yeah, I'm a huge Python fan. That would have been mine all the way. So yeah, so Linda has also dropped into chat the link for our workshop survey. If you could take just a moment to fill that out, we would be very grateful. We so appreciate your feedback. We want to make sure we're bringing you what you need for your courses. So please take a moment and fill that out for us. We have a few more resources on this slide. And you know what, Linda, I forgot about one. We need to add in the micro-credentials here too. We have CodeHS micro-credentials. So if you're interested in a Python micro-credential, JavaScript, Java, cybersecurity, web design, we have a lot of them. You'll make sure to take a look at those. They're really cool and pretty accessible. Let's see. And you join the CodeHS Educators Facebook group if you haven't already. And if you're interested in more events, make sure to browse out to codehs.com/freepd. We have quite a few events out there right now, and I can give you a little sneak peek that we are going to be adding many, many more in the next week. So keep an eye on that. And yeah, take a moment to check out that survey. And Linda dropped the link to the course catalog in there. Remember to find the NCyTE courses. You will search for NCyTE, and that will take you to the JavaScript course and the Python concept lessons, and you'll be all set. All right. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are so very, very happy to help. Both Linda and I get very excited about APCSP, and I am especially excited about the cybersecurity lessons. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope this was helpful. And don't forget to fill out the survey for us. Thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful evening and a wonderful Friday. Thank you. We'll see you at the next workshop, everybody.